This is a story from the dark days of 1941, a tale of incredible courage, of one man and his squadron who dared to challenge the sky itself. Howdy folks, and welcome back to Tales by Uncle Phil. This is the legend of Captain Jesus Villamor, a name that should be etched into the heart of every Filipino. The winds of war, long howling over Europe and Asia, have finally reached the shores of the Philippines. In Manila, the festive Christmas air is thick with tension. People look to the skies not with hope, but with a growing sense of dread. The might of the Japanese Empire is descending upon the islands, an unstoppable storm of modern warfare. And what stood in their way? For the air defense of the Philippines, it was a handful of pilots, brave men of the Philippine Army Air Corps. Their primary weapon? The P-26 Peashooter. Now let's be clear. The P-26 was a relic, a biplane from a bygone era. It was an open cockpit, fixed landing gear fighter. It was like bringing a slingshot to a cannon fight. Against them were the Japanese Zeros, the Mitsubishi A6M0, a marvel of aeronautical engineering. It was faster, more agile, and heavily armed. On paper, it was no contest. It was a massacre waiting to happen. But wars aren't fought on paper. They are fought by men. And leading the 6th Pursuit Squadron was Captain Jesus Villamor. He was a man who understood the odds, a man who saw the antiquated planes his pilots were flying. But he also saw the fire in their eyes, the unyielding spirit that refused to be broken. He knew that courage could be a weapon just as potent as any cannon. The fateful day arrived just 2 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor. December 10th, 1941. The sirens wailed across the Batangas province. A massive formation of Japanese bombers and fighters was spotted, heading towards the Zablon airfield. The call went out. Scramble. Captain Villamor and his 5-wing men didn't hesitate. They ran to their P-26 Peashooters, the engines roaring to life with a defiant growl. 6 little planes against a swarm. As they climbed into the sky, the sheer scale of the enemy force became terrifyingly clear. It wasn't just a handful of planes. It was a sky filled with them. 54 Japanese aircraft, bombers, and their escorting Zeros blotted out the sun. The sight would have broken lesser men. It would have been easy to turn back, to say the mission was suicide. But that was not the Villamor way. With a calm voice over the radio, Villamor gave the order to attack. He targeted the bombers, knowing that every bomb they dropped meant destruction and despair on the ground below. He pushed his P-26 to its absolute limit, the wind screaming past his open cockpit. What happened next is the stuff of aerial legend, a dogfight that defied all logic. Villamor and his squadron dove into the enemy formation like eagles into a flock of crows. The sky over Batangas became a chaotic ballet of death. Tracers zipped past, engines roared, and planes twisted and turned in impossible maneuvers. Villamor was a master of his craft. He knew his P-26 couldn't outrun or outclimb a Zero. So he used its one advantage, its agility in a tight turn. He lured a pursuing Zero into a deadly dance, turning tighter and tighter, forcing the superior Japanese fighter to overshoot. In that split second of opportunity, Villamor's guns erupted. He stitched a line of bullets across the Zero, sending it spiraling down in a plume of smoke. One down. His men, inspired by his impossible feat, fought with the fury of lions. They weaved through the bomber formation, their guns chattering, disrupting the attack. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but they were not outmatched in spirit. Another enemy plane fell, then another. The Japanese pilots, initially confident in their technological superiority, were stunned by the ferocity of these 6 Peashooters. They had expected a turkey shoot. Instead, they found a hornet's nest. For what felt like an eternity, the battle raged. Though they couldn't stop the entire bombing run, Villamor's squadron had drawn blood. They had proven that the Filipino spirit was not so easily extinguished. When they finally landed their battered and bullet-riddled planes, they had achieved the impossible. Captain Jesus Villamor himself was credited with downing 2 enemy aircraft. He had looked into the face of overwhelming odds and had not blinked. For his extraordinary heroism, he became one of the first Filipino heroes of World War II, earning the Distinguished Service Cross from the United States. But this dogfight, as legendary as it was only the first chapter of Villamor's story. As the Philippines fell to the invasion, the fight was far from over. The war shifted from the open skies to the shadowy jungles. The resistance began, and once again, the nation needed its heroes. He was to return to the occupied Philippines, not in a plane, but in secret, aboard a submarine. His new call sign was Valo. His mission, to establish an intelligence network that would connect the scattered guerrilla forces across the islands. He landed on the shores of Negros, a ghost returning to his haunted homeland. This was a different kind of war. There were no dogfights, no roaring engines. This was a war of whispers, of secret messages passed in the dead of night, of coded transmissions sent from hidden radios. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Every friendly face could mask a traitor. Villamor, the ace pilot, became a spymaster. He moved through the jungles and mountains, a phantom organizing the chaos. He built a vast network of brave Filipinos, men, women, and even children, who risked everything to gather information. The intelligence his network provided was invaluable. They reported on Japanese troop movements, ship locations, and defensive positions. This information was relayed to General MacArthur's headquarters in Australia, paving the way for the eventual liberation. Villamor's work saved countless lives, both Filipino and American. He was the unseen hand guiding the sword of liberation, the quiet hero whose courage burned just as brightly in the dark jungles as it did in the sunlit skies. After the war, his contributions were fully recognized. The airfield he once defended was renamed Villamor Air Base in his honor, a permanent testament to his legacy. But what is his true legacy? It's not just in the name of an air base or in the medals he received. The legacy of Jesus Villamor is woven into the very fabric of the Filipino spirit. It is the spirit of Bayanihan, of a community coming together to face an impossible challenge. It's the refusal to surrender, the will to fight for freedom, no matter the cost. His story reminds us that heroes are not mythical figures. They are ordinary people who, when faced with extraordinary circumstances, choose to act with extraordinary courage. Jesus Villamor was a pilot, a leader, a spy, but above all, he was a Filipino who loved his country enough to risk everything for it. So, the next time you look up at the sky, think of Captain Villamor and his 5 wingmen in their little P-26 Peashooters charging into a sky full of enemies. Remember their courage. Remember their sacrifice. And let's all strive to live with a fraction of that same valor in our own lives. Thanks for listening to this tale, folks. It's an honor to share these stories with you. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of heroes and history. Until next time, stay brave.